Greetings everyone, this is Maurice from the M&M Model Railroad, and this is Athearn Genesis SD70ACe build log number 02. And today what we're going to do is we're going to actually for the headlights and the rear lights, we're going to bore out the holes to make them larger so we can fit the LEDs when they come in. And also we're going to actually do a speaker and decoder install, and if we have enough time we'll actually test it to see if it powers up and run the way it should. Also, one more thing, I'll probably go into a little programming onto how to program the decoder. So let's get started. Okay, to drill out the front and rear lights holes, you need to use a drill bit of 1/16 of an inch, and you have to very carefully drill the holes in, or make the holes larger. And what you will need also is a good Dremel. You know, you run it very slow and take your time, and I mean it's a fairly easy process. You just have to be a little more conscious of what you're doing. And once you do that, and then you should be able to actually fit in the lights without a problem. Okay, I had drilled out the holes, and you really can't tell if they're bigger or not. I mean, it's a very small difference, but actually this difference will help fit the LED lights into the cab and the hood. Okay. Next off, putting the speaker onto the engine, or more or less the chassis. Okay, we're going to take this off. Put this over here for the moment, and this is here. And I put this on the side. Now, I noticed that Athearn had sealed that. I've got something to point. Let's see. They actually sealed the housing here, which is a smart thing to do, because there's been issues where the speaker doesn't carry a lot of noise due to that open, what used to be open there. I haven't found that it was a problem for me. You listen to the videos and the engine sounds pretty loud. Even though the camera phone sometimes amplifies the sound, but it does sound pretty good, even with that hole in place. This is with the older Athearn Genesis SD70ACes or any other products they may have. So what I do is I use this glue, Formula 560, which is actually canopy glue for large scale models, you know, like RC aircraft and the like. Now the reason why I like to use this glue, because one, it dries clear, and two, it's kind of flexible. It's strong and it's flexible. I don't want to use any hard glues to glue the speaker in the event that one, I may have to remove it for whatever reason, and two, it actually exhausts vibration. So So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually glue it. Put the glue around the edges, and then I'm going to put the decoder, or excuse me, I'm going to put the speaker right on top. The black side of the speaker facing down. Okay, now that I glued the circumference of the speaker housing, I didn't want to glue it too much. I had to wipe some excess glue off because you don't want the glue sticking on the black surface of this. So what I like to do is I install it where the contacts are on a slight angle so that it will be easier to actually wire it up. That's just my opinion. And okay, it fits nice and snug. Okay, here we go. Okay, and this glue dries fairly quick, so that's not too much of an issue. Okay, I'm gonna make sure this is down. All right. Next thing is to actually put in the decoder. I'll reach over here, bring it over. All right, now. As you see it, this is the orientation to where you install, or how to install the decoder. And how you will know is that these, I guess these are capacitors, I don't know. These are always facing the rear of the engine. Alright, so you got to remember that. This is always the rear, and this is the front. Now, fair warning, this decoder is a micro. This is not the regular select direct. This is a micro. And I made this mistake programming this decoder with just a regular select direct, thinking that, or more or less the ESU select, where it's a bigger decoder. No, my friends, this is very different. This is actually a micro, and what they did is just the micro on a daughter board, and it clips right off. Pretty darn ingenious. Instead of dealing with the wires, they just have some sort of interface that just, just snap it right in. So when programming this, you got to make sure you download the right sound files, and they will have to be the N scale sound file, not the HO, because the HO, you will blow this thing up. I mean, not blow it up, but you know what I mean. You will actually destroy or damage the firmware, and it will not program for crap after you do that. So remember, when you download the drivers or you download the sound files for this particular decoder, you just got to be sure that you download the N scale version of this decoder. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're just going to put it on, which is fairly easy. This clips on. Move this over a little bit. Okay. Alright, this clips on. It's kind of hard to do it with one hand. Actually, it is on. Silly monkey. Okay, make sure this is orientated correctly. This is down pretty good. Alright. Okay, we are cooking with fire here. Okay, what we're going to do next is I'm going to actually install the leads. Let's see if I got them correct. Yeah, there we go. Install the leads, and then I'm going to solder them onto this on all four ends of this decoder. Now what I like to do is I like to first solder the tips of the wires before I do this. It makes it easier to actually put it on, and I mean it comes out pretty neat. So that will be in the next part of this video, so hang tight. Okay people, I'm back. Alright, the next step is to actually solder the connections, and what I like to do before I actually do any soldering is actually pre-flux the connections. And what I mean by that, what I do is I like to dip the wires into this jelly looking stuff, which is the flux. You know, I'll just dip it into, I like that word dip. So I'll pre-coat it, and also I take my little screwdriver, maybe you can, and I put it in the flux, and what I do is, if you can see, if I can see, it is pre-fluxing at the ends, corners. Okay, a little bit more. Okay. Pardon me, just trying to juggle the camera and this at the same time. Okay. It's good not to get too much, because the stuff, when it melts, actually leaves a residue, and you don't want this residue all over your decoder. That'd be a very bad thing. Alright, here we go. Put some over here. Oops, a little too much there. And right here. I might need a little bit more. Pardon me, it's a little blurry. These camera phones are not perfect. Okay. Alright, there we go. Okay, put this down here. I'm going to move this. By the way, this flux is by it's from Radio Shack. Renzen soldering flux. Works pretty good for me. I'm going to position this over here so I can dip the wires into the flux. Alright, I'll do this like this, like so. That was the red one. Okay, put that in too. Okay, there we go. And I don't know if you saw that. I wasn't paying attention. It's the camera. Okay, that goes there, and this goes in right in there. Turn it around a little bit. Okay. A little bit of help you move it over. And dip Both wires in the dip. The solder. Solder. Okay. Alright, the next step, I'm going to solder the tips. And then I'm going to actually solder onto the board. Okay, people, we're back. Alright, as you can see, I have just completed the installation of the decoder, the soldering of all the points, solder speakers, and so on and so on. Okay, one thing I have to mention is that whenever you do soldering on this particular decoder, make sure that you take this piece off. The reason being, you don't want to accidentally hit the soldering iron. As you can see that there are 4 connections here. They're very close to the decoder itself, and you can actually damage the board. And she's ready to be powered up. Okay, we'll go here to my computer, and already the lock programmer is already opened, and we'll go to go, and then we go to F8, which actually starts the engine, but it also doubles as a mute when the train is moving only. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is the default sound that comes with the decoder. It's a universal engine sound that comes with all, not all select directs, but what I do is I buy the universal decoder that has a generic sound, and I do the programming myself. So here's the horn. Bell. Okay, let's move it out. Now, one thing I must say, and I know some people might bark about it, but personally, when it comes to Athearn, I really don't like their wheels or their drivetrain. The reason being because to get this to actually run perfectly, you have to really clean these wheels. Now, I do not have this problem with MTH out of the box. I don't have this problem with Broadway out of the box. Also Atlas, some of the Atlas that I have. But for some reason, every Athearn I run, I have to wind up cleaning the wheels. Now, I'm not sure what quality grade alloys they're using for these wheels, but they do get pretty dirty very quickly if your engine is not in use. And while I was actually tuning it, I was having a problem with the Easy Track device here. I had to take it apart and come to find out one of the connections were bad, so I had to solder the connections. So I was wondering why I was getting some severe performance issues. See, already it stutters just a little bit. Well, still, there's some program that has to be done. One is to change the sound on it. Okay, let me turn this off. Okay, let's back to the computer. Let's see if I still have sound files. Let's see. I believe I do. I don't know if you can see. Okay. I have to basically load this particular file. Let's try it again. Go up to here. Alright, I got quite a few. I got GVOs. I got a whole bunch of stuff here. I may get the Athearn Genesis GVOs. I'm kind of debating on it at the moment. Okay. Because if I do get them, I just want to get 4. Because what I know, and what I found out, is that MTH is coming with their own GVOs. And that will be probably about a year from now. And man, I cannot wait till I get my hands on that. Okay, right now I'm just saved it. I'm going to set it to 3 for the moment. Now later on I'll do some tweaking. I'll put the long address in, and then I'll go to write to decoder, and it's asking me to overwrite default values. Let's say next. Actually, I should do the wizard, to be honest with you, instead. Alright, hold on. Let me see. The wizard will actually be better. The wizard is going to write. It's going to overwrite. Show wizard. Alright. And then I'll go to perform complete decoder update. I select that. I already have this selected. And I believe this is the latest file from ESU. This one's release 3. At the end it will say R3. So I believe this is the latest and the greatest. And go to open. And alright, it's going to start. It reads the decoder. Make sure everything is fine. Oh, and of course we get exception errors. Every now and then you get this. There's something this doesn't like. It's still reading though. Let's see what happens. Come on, talk to me. The most important thing right now is to start writing. The ESU software is not the most stable that I have experienced. This is taking a little too long. It shouldn't take that long to read. do, I'm going to stop it and restart the software again. Oh, so the software is not playing nice. Okay. Due to the technical difficulties, I'll just have to stop the video, mess around with it, and then we'll take it from there once I get up and running. Stay tuned. Okay, I just figured out what happened. I have just done one of those now Biff type of moves. Basically, the sound file that I was trying to upload to the engine wasn't a valid one. Basically, it didn't have the actual sound file, so the software was actually giving an error. What I forgot was that basically I had redone this laptop, so I lost all my files. So I didn't. The only file that I had for this engine was particularly one that was downloaded from the engine, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it downloads the actual files. It will actually download like maybe the CV settings, but it won't download the actual sound file. And this is actually my third attempt to try to get this to work. The second attempt, for some reason, when it was writing, it had some sort of error. And basically how you would know that if it's decoding correctly, so you see that red flashing light? If it's steady, that means it's getting data the way it should. If it's inconsistent, that means that you're going to run into a problem, and you're most likely going to get some sort of error. So at the moment, it's going to take about at least a half hour to program, and once it's done, we'll come back and we'll hear the SD70ACe sounds and see how it performs. Okay, we're back. After some technical difficulties, we actually got this thing running pretty nice. So already I have this powered up. I'm going to start her up. Alright, that sounds good. Let's hear the horn. Alright, music to my ears. Bell. Alright, very nice. And let's see how she runs. Alright, please note this is the factory setting for this decoder. And I remind you that you have to keep these wheels very clean for it to get this type of performance. Now, a word of caution. What I've noticed with this decoder is that if you have an option called low compensation, which is the actual standard setting, it's a CV, I believe it's CV49. You have to set it to number 2. And the reason for this is it will turn off low compensation. Now when you clean the wheels for a tidy track, if you have low compensation on, the engine's going to sputter. And you don't want that to happen. Basically, you're basically holding the engine from doing what it's supposed to do. It's causing too much friction. And when the decoder senses this friction, it can't handle it for some reason. So it basically starts sputtering. And so I just did a little reading on the instructions, and it informed me just to actually turn that function off. And doing so, I was able to clean the wheels properly. Now it runs perfect. Well, that is it, folks, for now. Stay tuned for the third build of the series of the SD70ACe ESU Decoder install. And I thank you for watching.